Daniel, just your immediate feelings on 200 yards?
Yeah, I'm obviously very proud to make the 200 games. Made 150 reasonably quickly, and then the body put the brakes on. So at times I didn't think I'd make it to 200, but it's nice to get there.
To me, doing it in Tasmania as well, I guess it's an unusual spot.
Yes, couldn't have scripted it better. Away game in Tassie, but no, look, I look forward to playing in Tasmania. I've never played at Bellerive. I think that's where the game is, and it'll be interesting. My family have never been to Hobart, and they're coming over, so they'll enjoy it.
Does that take away the gloss at all? The fact that you're not, say, playing on the MCG or Patterson Stadium?
Not really. I mean, it's been a little bit of a different week because I have to do this media conference and they show a video of all your highlights in the team meeting. But other than that, it's just another game that I'll prepare for exactly the same, no matter where we play. No matter how big the crowd is or who's there, you don't really worry about that once it's game time.
Have you seen the highlights tape yet? Or?
We watched it yesterday. I used to run with some pretty bad haircuts.
What were some of the highlights, mate? They showed.
They seem to show a lot of defensive highlights these days, which I wasn't great at. But yeah, just the normal stuff that you do well when you play football.
Is there anything that stands out in terms of one moment or for you?
I took a hanger on Burnsy, which was nice to see in the meeting because he's my midfield coach now.
Have you put pen to paper yet, Daniel, the 2-year deal?
Yeah, I signed early this week for a 2-year deal, which will take me till I'm 31. So I'd like to do one more deal after that, but we'll have to see how the body's holding up.
Earlier on in the year, you were not worried, but you were talking, if you have any setbacks, then it makes it a bit harder to keep on playing, but your body feels pretty good now?
Yeah, my hamstring has been my only major, when I say major, career-threatening injury in my career, and even last year when I was playing with it, for the majority of the year, it did feel like I was playing with a torn hamstring. It was hard to work out when it was actually torn and when it was fine, but just had the after effects of the surgery. And I came into this pre-season still feeling it a little bit, and then it just went away. So I'm reasonably confident now, touch wood, besides impact injuries, that my body will hold up.
How have you felt playing every game this year? How are you pulling up and rebounding week to week?
Yeah, I've been pulling up really well this year. Obviously when you're getting tagged and teams are running into you off the ball and you're getting hit a little bit more, you get a lot more sore, but the legs from the running and the sprinting haven't been getting sore in certain areas where they have in the past, so I've been pretty happy.
Have you been surprised, I guess, by your ability to play every game?
I'm not surprised. I've been happy to play every game. You go into a season preparing. I was preparing for this season from November last year, so with the preparation you put in, you hope that your body will stand the rigours of football, and that's why you start training so early, so you can play consecutive games. So I knew I had done the work. It was just a matter of if the work was going to pay off.
It must be a relief though, because say 2 years ago or even a year ago, you wouldn't have been sure that this would have been a situation that you would have been pulling up as well from week to week.
Yeah, and it's nice. I mean, a lot of people, the conception I think with footballers is that we're probably not earning our money, or we're not earning our wages when we're injured. The fact is, you spend more time at the football club and you put a lot more time into football when you're injured. When you're playing, you train 3 times a week, you do weights, you do the meetings, and you don't have to worry about your body, and your football commitments aren't as great. So it's been nice just to have time just to myself really, because when you're injured it is a 24-hour job.
Look through your highlights last night. There was plenty of times where you've been smashed. Are you surprised that you continue to play, well not smashed so much, but you're going pretty hard, so you sometimes end up on the other side of things. So are you surprised you've survived so long and your body survived? I'm
not surprised. The only hit that's really taken its toll probably in the 200 games was the one I caught last year off Love at Murray against Essendon. I fractured a few vertebrae in my back. I have fractured vertebrae in my back before, earlier on in my career, but these ones were quite close to the spine and took a while to heal, and I still feel them now getting up in the morning. Other than that, the body's been fantastic and pulled up really well from the knocks over the years.
The spear tackle?
From Burgoyne?
Yeah.
That actually didn't even hurt. I felt sorry for Burgoyne for getting reported for that, because back then spear tackle wasn't really a reportable thing in football, and it didn't hurt at all.
and you're growing out of it now, but I saw a lot of headbutts, or attempted headbutts. Have you moved on from that?
I've grown out of a lot of things now, luckily, that used to get me in trouble. Yeah, I got reported a fair bit in the mid part of my career where I was frustrated with probably my poor form, and at times the team was coming off a successful run and I wasn't used to the team probably not as performing as well, and it frustrated me, and I lashed out in ways that I shouldn't. It's something that I've taken out of my game this far, but you never know in the heat of the moment, Lockie.
So that was tough. That was tough going from a team that was just a super, regarded as a bit of a super team, to a real battling side.
Yeah, it's always tough when you go from success to then what we went through was... When you're playing finals football through that era, I just thought we were going to play finals football for the rest of my career, and we're going to be on what you'd say easy street, because when you're winning, football is very enjoyable. When you're losing, it can become hard. And it was a shock to the system, and it's good to be back there now.
Can I ask you, when Chris Judd left, you were pretty good mates. Was that a tough time at all for you, or did you move on pretty quick?
Not really. I knew that Chris was going to leave at some stage, so it wasn't a shock to me. I knew that he wanted to go home eventually and be with his family and bring up his children in Victoria, so I'd prepared myself to it. I was just thankful that Chris played that extra contract. I thought that he may have left the contract before, but he played an extra and won a premiership, and as much as it was sad to see him move on, I understood the reasons, and sometimes friendship overrides what's going on with football.
Did Daniel ever put pressure on yourself to obviously step up and be the number one midfielder after Chris and Ben left? Do you think, looking at...
When they were still here, you always put pressure on yourself to be the best player you can be. I was still trying to be the number one midfielder when they were here. They were just better players than me. You don't try any harder because someone's left, or try any less because people are there. I was always trying to be the number one midfielder, trying to be the best player I could be. I just had two superstars alongside me that were... I think no matter how much I trained, they were always going to be better.
Do you really believe that, though? Because a lot of people would probably say you rivaled them, and if not better at times during your career when you played with them, that you were just as good as them.
I think we all complemented each other. I think it was easy playing with Chris. I did understand the way he played, and I think he understood the way I played. Ben was a fantastic player to play with. I think he taught Chris and I a lot about football and a lot about how to work off the field to become a footballer. So Ben was kind of the mentor, and Chris and I were the young kids trying to emulate what Ben had done over his career, and the three of us worked well together, but I think their consistency over their career was unmatched.
You went close to the Brownlow as well, but just Ben got in your way? Yeah,
look, I think looking back on it, if Ben hadn't had such a good year, I'd be disappointed. I look back on that year and I thought that Ben was far and away the best player in the competition, and probably should have won the Brownlow by a lot more, but I was lucky to get second, and if it wasn't Ben that won it and I knew how, and I didn't know how good a year it was, I probably would have been a little bit more disappointed than I am now.
Knowing that the contract you just signed will take you through to 31, likely finish your career here, obviously, is that a positive feeling?
Yeah, I supported West Coast since I can remember, and I didn't want to leave. I've got a young family now. I've got another baby on the way, so I'll be staying in Perth, and I'll be an Eagle for life, which is something I'm very proud of. It's good to be a one-team man, and I'll be able to walk into the football club when I finish and hold my head up high.
Do you think about post-football yet, or is it a bit early?
No, I think about post-football a lot. I've got 2 kids. I've got to work out what I'm going to do for a quid after football. So I think about it a lot, and I've got a few things in motion. And my management company and Colin Young have been fantastic to me throughout my career, and no doubt Youngie will come up with something.
Two kids. So is that a new announcement that we're hearing, or?
Yeah, I've got another one on the way, due late November, early December. So I'll have 2 under 2, which should keep me busy this off-season and out of trouble.
Good luck. How would you like to be seen? I mean, you're not finishing up, but how would you like to be seen as a footballer? What do you regard as the most important thing?
I just think just someone who had a crack. I think the players I admire the most aren't always the most skillful players or the players that are the superstars. I think the players that I've always looked at and liked the way they played, the ones that have always given their all on the field and just had a crack to the best of their ability, no matter how their talent level is.
Is your derby goal the best goal you kicked, that one where you ran for 500 Ks?
Yeah, it's probably the hardest goal to kick that I've kicked in my career. I mean, especially now with teams pressing up, you just wouldn't. I don't think you'll see too many players be able to run the football like that. It's just a completely different game of football now.
And
What do you think of the changes that have happened in the game, I suppose, over your 200?
It took me, to be honest, probably a year to. So I was out of football when the press really came into play. So it took me the majority of my first season back, which was last year after the hamstring, to get used to grabbing the football and someone being in your face and having to make different decisions. In the past, 6, it was one-on-one football and through till 09 really, till Hawthorn won that flag, or whenever they won, I'm not sure. But it's a different brand of football now. All the pressure is frontal pressure. You don't really have to worry too much about the pressure from behind as much as the pressure coming at you that you can see. So it's just a complete change, and a complete change in mindset, and a complete different way of making decisions out on the ground.
Playing off the wing on the weekend, Daniel, did you enjoy it, and do you see yourself playing more there over the next 2 years?
I did enjoy it. It was nice to get a run out in the wing, and I didn't have anyone play on me, so it was a freewheeling game, and I pulled up fantastic from the game. But you don't want to give these young guys too much opportunity, because Gaffey had 25 touches and 5 shots on goal playing my position, and I only had 15 playing his. So I'll quite happily go back into the centre and push him back into the wing this week.
Could you see I'm only throwing up these three, Selwood, Shuey and Gaff being the Judd, Kerr, Cousins combination?
I think so. I can't remember for a while a player coming into the competition and having as much of the footy as Andrew Gaff does. He was fantastic last year, having numerous 30-plus games, and this year he just hasn't missed a beat. So it's as good an introduction to the game as I've seen, and if he can continue his improvement along with Luke Shuey and Scott Selwood, I think you're going to see a pretty special midfield in the future.